Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here. What you are about to see is absolutely chilling. I'm going to show you a clip from 1965, a clip of former radio broadcaster Paul Harvey, in which he divulges information that if, quote, he were the devil, then this is what he would do. The reason I want to show you this is because everything he said is happening, and happening exponentially. But before I get into that, I want to do a quick shout out to Trump Coin 2020. In the event of some kind of catastrophe or crazy event, you're going to want to have gold, silver, precious metal, these kinds of things on hand. Well, Trump Coin 2020 is a coin that's 0.999% silver. And you also see that it has Trump on the front and back. This thing is phenomenal. I'm going to buy it as gifts and presents come this Christmas. But it's a great way to commemorate and remember the president, as well as stock up on some of that silver. Use the code LISA to get $5 off of that transaction. So check that out below. What I want to do is show you in pieces some of what he said. Take a listen to his first clip.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States.
So if he were the devil, he'd take over a third of the real estate and 4/5 of the population and ultimately seize control of the U.S. Is this why most of our land here in America is owned by the federal U.S. government? Check this map out where it shows how much is actually their land versus the American people. Is it safe to say that a lot of our country has already been seized up and our land is disappearing?
I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please.
He would subvert the churches? Is this why a lot of the churches across the country have, well, teamed up with FEMA? You see, the churches don't need to link up with FEMA. They already do what God called them to do. In the event of some kind of catastrophe, the churches are always there front and center, helping with food, clothing. They don't need to link up with FEMA. So why all of a sudden the submergence of the two?
To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square.
The Bible is a myth. Man created God. What's bad is good. What's good is bad. That's exactly what we see happening on the mainstream, on television, on radio, on magazines. They twist everything, make good bad and bad good. I think he's got that one nailed.
And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington.
Teach citizens and men to pray to Washington? Is this why we've delved so much into, well, things like a nationalized healthcare system where the daddy becomes your healthcare provider, like Obamacare? Or maybe why we've grown the welfare state to teach people to ultimately pray to Washington?
I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills.
Tranquilize the population with pills and drugs and narcotics? I think we've got that one in the bag.
And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames.
Use media to fan the flames? That's exactly what the mainstream media does. In fact, they're trying to silence through censorship everyone and anyone who says anything against it.
If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door.
Most of our schools have metal detectors. They have to have clear backpacks at some of the schools. He's definitely got his hand in that.
Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress.
Remove God from the courthouse, from Congress, from the White House, from schoolhouse. They already did that.
And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science.
Science over religion? Science is a deity? And in fact, if you're a scientist and you want to study anything having to do with God or creationism, you're just sent out. When in reality, science is supposed to explore all options. So far from where we need to be.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Take from those who have and give to those who want. That's the very definition of what happens in some of our welfare system. Not only that, but it is the very definition of socialism that brings destruction on civilization. Take away and give. Take away from somebody who earned it and give it to somebody who hasn't. That's exactly what socialism preaches, and it's coincidentally exactly what's on the Democratic Party ticket.
I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct.
Caution against extremism, against hard work, against patriotism, nationalism. Those are at the front and center of what the Democratic and socialist leftists are doing today. Attack anything with the love of America. Attack love of your country. Why? Because it brings in a global order and breaks down that bondage that countries have. It's at the very center.
In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
If he were the devil, he'd just keep on doing what he's doing. And here we are some 58 some odd years later. And look at the state of the world. We have so many things on the rise. We have a big attack against patriots. Was this planned from the beginning? We have a big media push censoring anyone who wants freedom of speech. Is this part of his agenda? We have God kicked out of every single avenue and crime rising as a result. We have our schools in which mass shootings happen. They have metal detectors at the doors. They've put science over any form of religion, elevated and deified science. They've deified Washington. Is this all part of the agenda? Or is Paul Harvey just speaking hot air? In the end, I guess you're the one to decide. Well, thanks again for tuning into my channel. If you like what you heard, share it everywhere because it doesn't get shared. Otherwise, give me a thumbs up and, well, subscribe to the channel. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.